What is the difference between apostles and disciples?
Well, disciples are learners, and apostles are those who are sent to teach what they've learned, basically. I mean, even the word discipuli in Latin, meaning disciples, right? It has the sense of, well, little learners, literally, because the ulus or the uli on the end in Latin connotes a diminutive, like a little something, right? And in this case, coming from the Latin word for a learner, to learn. So the little learners are the disciples who are gathered around the prophet, or in this case, they're referring to our Lord as being, the very Son of God teaching them. He's not just speaking on behalf of God, he is God speaking to them and teaching them. And so the word disciples is used generally to any follower of our Lord who is learning from him. And so when our Lord led the thousands of people into the wilderness and fed them, everyone who was there was really a disciple, insofar as they were there to hear our Lord speak and to learn from him. But our Lord singled out certain of those disciples, and we know them as apostles, hoi apostoloi, as they're called in Greek. And the significance of the word means that they are sent forth. And they are meant then to take the word that they have learned to preach that word, as our Lord sent the apostles out just moments before his ascension with the words, "Going therefore, preach the gospel to all nations." And that very fact singles them out as apostles. Now, early on in his public life, our Lord called those apostles and gathered them around. We read in particular about the summoning of St. Peter, St. Andrew, his brother, St. John, St. James, the sons of Zebedee. They were essentially all called together. Then we read about St. Bartholomew or Nathaniel, and his calling. So our Lord assembled the 12 apostles, including Judas Iscariot. And these are the ones who are especially close with him, spending essentially night and day with him. Our Lord was preparing them then to be the messengers, as it were, to the whole world, to preach the gospel.
At that moment before our Lord's ascension, when he sent them to preach the gospel, was that like a demarcation point where they kind of progressed from a disciple to an apostle?
Well, no, he had actually called them specially before that. He called Peter away from his boats, Andrew, James, and John, told them to leave those and come follow him. And they were called to leave everything behind and follow him. Not all the disciples were. I mean, the apostles were disciples because they were learning from our Lord. So all the followers of our Lord who were learning from his teaching were disciples, but only those 12 were actual apostles, because only those did he choose specifically to leave all things and come and follow him. And their whole life was about that, then following him. They left everything else behind.